let's get the obvious out of the way. The Black Banquet was a failure of an event, and still is. There's barely anyone that is saying anything positive about it, and even when there is someone that says about the positives, which are barely any, the negatives are way, way more. The whole process for both sides has managed to be a disaster, somehow removing all fun from both Survivor and Killer. And recently, Behavior made a new tweet talking about the event and addressing some of the issues that have been raised within the community. First and foremost, the cakes, otherwise known as Tutti Torts. They've said that the current spawn rate is working as intended, meaning it's a scripted and guaranteed amount of how many of them spawn per blood web / prestige. So that part doesn't change. What they did change is decrease its rarity from very rare to common. That doesn't change anything other than how many blood points it costs to get one of those. So in reality, it doesn't really change anything other than make progression a little bit faster. Which in reality is nothing, because the main issue isn't the cost of the cakes, it's how many you get, the quantity. So despite them making a whole a huge sentence all about it, like 2 paragraphs, there's barely anything that actually gets fixed from that. They're also starting a blood hand, which is for most of the event 2x blood points for all matches, which would be good, although it seems they've used it only when there's a problem or if they're trying to kill the competition. And if it was about the blood points, they would have done it from the beginning. I don't see why the event didn't have a blood hand of its own. I mean, wasted potential to increase the people that want to come to the game. They're also giving 2 skins for free, one for Trapper and one for Dwight, which are kind of like an honorary mention to the first Prestige outfits that existed when they updated the Prestiges. For anyone that had Prestige characters, it would give them a special skin after the update was done. It's kind of the same, just difference in color, which seems alright, except for the fact that these skins were leaked out a month ago, if not even more, for the release. It was data mined and everything. So a lot of people believed that it would be for, a collection or something else like that. So them using it out of nowhere as an quote-unquote apology is awfully suspicious, because it genuinely doesn't make all that much sense. I mean, why would they have these skins for so long if they were going to use them for an apology? Obviously, they were going to be used for something else. And now they're doing this to try to appease to the people without actually fixing the issues, those being somewhat the balance of the game mode, which, sir, the poisons are okay, they're kind of strong, especially with certain killers. By the way, it is just not enough. It doesn't mean it's fun. And yeah. Then there's the parts where they've said multiple times that they're gonna collect feedback about the event so they can make the future ones better, although they've noticed already that it's a huge failure, and yet they plan to continue making events like the Black Banquet. And it's not just for the anniversary, they've said future events, so that could be anything. They could make it like the Black Banquet even in something like the winter event or the Halloween event. And also, they also tweeted about how they broke the new record of their players with the event, reaching a peak of 168,000. At the time of me having collected all of this information, tweets, images, and all of that, the player count dropped all the way to 54,000. which is like 1/3 of the player base. Meaning the event has gone so terribly that it reached its peak purely because it was something new, which amassed a long time of old players, returning veterans, one thing another. It brought new players because there's also Jason, and overall, oh, a game lasting 10 years, that means it has to be good. And yeah, that was also a pretty big disappointment. And it has managed to lose so many players, and yet none of the actual issues are getting addressed. The event itself isn't getting any balance notes, the cakes aren't getting any problems fixed. And not only that, but speaking of the event, a character, the Doctor, got kill switched for the duration of the event. Not gonna be fixed, nothing. It's just straight up kill switched. You cannot play Doctor in the event. Which is ridiculous, especially considering the fact that one of the skins for the event is specifically for the Doctor to, you know, oh, the killers get new skins, to kind of advertise the event. And yet you cannot play one of the characters that has a skin for advertising the event. And either ways, this whole thing is just a big old mess. Like, most of the food things are already things that happen in the actual game. Except, you know, corrected to 1,000, especially with the worldwide heals. And yeah, I mean, this is a pretty short video. This is like zero script at all. And sorry, I'm just gathering my thoughts on what else to talk about. Right. Another person asked about how they're not addressing how miserable the event is for Killer. And they've obviously, you know, the answer to things for a recent tweet they made. And they said, "We appreciate all the feedback we've received so far on the event, and we'll have a survey going out to gather some more targeted feedback. We're hoping this will help us improve the experience for future iterations." So, not really answering, it's just saying, "Oh, we'll collect feedback," which doesn't really answer anything, like, at all. It's just the most avoiding it to actually answer and just saying, "We'll collect feedback," which most likely a big part of it will be like, "Oh, Survivor was kind of weak," or "the game mode was just unfun," to try to get more buffs out of the next event that comes out that is similar to this one. And considering how Behavior loves going with pure stats, not seeing the situations or anything like that, and just going purely off of numbers and statistics of that sort, it should probably be clear that if you reach an all-time peak, and that all-time peak died in less than 2 days, something is probably going wrong. So even if they are using their typical method of just looking at the numbers without any context, the whole thing is still gonna be a mess. Like, there cannot be any excuses. They have excused other times with, "Oh, now the silent casuals are fine with all of this, it's nothing." But all of it is just a mess. There's nothing you can do. Behavior really needs to fix this, otherwise I doubt we'll get an 11th year anniversary. So yeah. Bye.